traveling is one of the most important ways for us as human beings to fulfill our curiosity. But since the pandemic started, traveling has come to a complete halt, and especially international traveling, because of all these COVID restrictions and safety measures. It is now the beginning of 2022, and while traveling is definitely not as strict as it was when the pandemic just started, it is definitely not as easy to travel as pre-pandemic times. We just came to Indonesia and we experienced the entire process of traveling with pretty tight COVID restrictions. It was really crazy for me to see how different it was from traveling before COVID and traveling now during COVID. We documented the entire process and we made a video. So if you want to check that out, you can click here.
So we set ourselves down to ask us the ultimate question. Do we wait for the right time to travel, or do we just go now? We are making a series of videos just to share with you what it is like to travel under COVID restrictions in the beginning of 2022. If you are just like us, eager to travel and cannot wait until the pandemic ends, we wish that we can provide a pretty good image for you to understand what you might go through to make your life a little bit easier when you travel.
Before you do anything, you need to check if Indonesia's borders are open to your country. As I know right now at the making of this video, Indonesia's borders are open to all countries, but because COVID is very unpredictable and there's new variants popping up all the time, this might change. So it's best for you to do your own research just before you come here. For example, when we were traveling to Indonesia, there was a list of 14 countries who were all banned from entering Indonesia. We went into quarantine, and the second day of our quarantine, France was added to the list because of the HIU variant. By the time we were leaving the quarantine, France was taken off that list because more research had been done about the HIU variant. So like I said, it's best for you to just double check and do your own research. Being vaccinated is a requirement if you would like to travel to Indonesia. So if you are planning to come here, then be sure to plan ahead because most vaccines do need 1 month between 2 shots.
Right now, as the making of this video, there's only one way for you to apply for a visa to enter Indonesia, which is through a visa agent. Now, it's common sense that there are some documents that are absolutely required. For example, the vaccine certificate or a copy of your passport. But do talk to your agent to understand exactly what you need to provide, because different visa agents work differently, so they know the best how to help you. But here's a tip from us. Make sure that you talk to as many agents as possible, just so that you can see for yourself whether what they're saying is aligned or not. Let's be honest, there are so many visa agents out there, and a lot of them are not that professional. In our scenario, when we were about to apply for the visa, that was when Omicron hit, and Indonesia blocked 14 countries from entering, including South Africa, which is where Logan is from. And those not so professional agents told us that Logan could not apply for the visa because she's South African, even though she was flying into Indonesia from China. Now, as you can see, we're in Bali, right on the beach, making this video, so we successfully made it, which means that the information was false. We almost gave up our plan, but we didn't stop there. We went out of our ways just to do more research and talk to many more agents afterwards. And turns out we could apply, and that's how we made it. So learn from our experience, talk to more agents, and get the right information for yourself. Even though it might take some time, but it's way better than giving up on your plan or wasting more than 10 days like we did. In general, the visa approval process takes anywhere from 3 to 15 days. It really depends on the process. It's out of your control. There's nothing you can do about it. So just be patient. Luckily for us, we only waited for 4 days to get our visas, which is quite good. And there are some services that can help you to get your visa faster if you're really in need for that, but you have to talk to your agent about it. The good news is you have 90 days to enter Indonesia from the date your visa is issued, which, in my opinion, gives you a lot of room to plan for your trip.
The process for booking flights now are no different to what they were before COVID. But there is one thing I would recommend checking, and that is the location of your layover. If your layover is in a region that's on the banned list, then you will not be able to enter Indonesia. Even if you started your journey in a region that's off the banned list and then you do the layover in the region that's on the banned list, Indonesia will not let you into the country. As well as you most likely will be doing quarantine in Jakarta, which means you obviously need to fly to Jakarta. But yesterday we heard some great news, well, great news for you, and that is that Singapore Airlines will start flying directly to Bali come February 2022, which means you might be able to do your quarantine here in Bali, but that's not for all countries, so be sure to double check the requirements when you are booking your flight.
As of right now, and most probably for the following couple months, if you want to come into Indonesia, you have to do a quarantine. Booking a quarantine hotel is an absolute must for you to enter Indonesia. And in order for you to book a quarantine hotel, you have to provide your flight number, so the hotel knows when will you arrive so that they can pick you up. It might sound tricky, but before you even book your flight, you can always message the hotels to ask them about any questions that you might have, or your requirements, or to check their availabilities. There's a government official list of all the quarantine hotels available in Jakarta. We will link it down below just to make your life easier. Before you start your journey, there is one last thing you have to do, which is a PCR test. And it has to be negative, obviously.
So this is what the paper looks like, and now we got to get it translated into English.
Indonesia requires you to have a negative PCR test within 72 hours before your departure. When we started our journey, we had negative PCR tests within 72 hours before our departure, but we also did another one voluntarily within 24 hours before our departure, just in case anything happens. Like I said before, things are a little bit unpredictable these days. Just keep that in mind.
Before you fly to Indonesia, it would be best if you print out all the necessary documents, because this will be much easier for you to show the airport staff at check-in, at health clearance, and also at immigration. I would also recommend that you arrive to the airport way earlier than usual, because during COVID time there's a lot more checking to do and this process will take a lot longer. As well as the last tip is do not lose your boarding pass, because when you get to Jakarta you need it in order to get a QR code for the checking process there. Once you've arrived to the Jakarta International Airport, there's a bunch of steps and a process you need to go through where you show a whole bunch of different documents. But we went through this a month ago, so there might be a little bit of changes, but we're going to share with you what happened just so that you have some sort of heads up. So first you'll go to a section where you need to show your boarding pass and your passport, and they will give you a QR code. Once you got this QR code, you can go to the next station and you can show your PCR test and your vaccine. They will then stamp your QR code, and then you go to the last section where you will do the negative PCR test. They will go through the nose and the throat, and they will also check your quarantine hotel reservation. Once everything is checked, they will tell you you can go to immigration, and at immigration you can show your e-visa and they will put the little sticker in your passport. And once that's done, you're basically in Jakarta and you're safe, and then you get your baggage and you can do the baggage claim, and then you find your hotel staff and you start your quarantine.
Thanks. This is our experience of traveling to Indonesia in early January 2022. When you start your trip, things might have changed already, so make sure that you do your own research. And I know that there's a lot of information we packed into this video, so I'm gonna stop it right here. And we've written all the information in a blog post. I will link it down below. So when you're on the go, it might come handy for you to check some information for yourself. And there are more information to share with you, so we will make follow-up videos soon. So stay tuned, and we will see you soon.